Hello, my lovely edge dwellers. This is Lucca and this is Ask Lucca Live. We are May the 30th today, and we're doing our half-hour check-in with the guides and hi, Camellia. We're checking in with our guides and helpers and intergalactic beings and angels and whoever else happens to be around. Hi, Flora. So we'll just take a moment to let everybody arrive, and then we're off to the races. We have 6 questions that have been sent to me ahead today. Hi, Alberta. Nice to have you with us. And I imagine that there might be a few others from the group today as we plow along. Finally able to join. We're here either live or we come in and listen to it afterwards. So it's all part of the same community. Hi, Carolina. Hi, Patricia. So I've got a clock down here, so you'll see me glancing down, so I can look at the clock and see where we are. Hi, Nina. So let's get ourselves started. I like to start every session by saying that we're setting our intention, because I believe that everything follows intention, and so our attention, hi Scott, in these sessions is to answer the asked and the intended questions, and to receive answers that are soulfully helpful to all of us here as the participants, and I include myself in that. Hi Maureen, hi Judy. And also for those listeners who will come in afterwards. So something in the way energy works means that even if you intend to be here and you're coming in later, hi Zoe, then it influences what comes through in the session. And I have no idea exactly how that works. They haven't explained it. Maybe one day they will. They'll tell me how it all works. In the Ask Lucca Live group, I have posted something called Keep in Mind. And those are things that you should keep in mind as I work. I don't explain all of them as I start because it takes up extra time to do that. But the most important thing for everybody to remember is that your gut feel about what's right for you is more important than anything anybody can say to you, and that includes me. So never give your power away to anybody else. Also, if I tell you anything about the future, it's a probability only, and it's based on the idea that however you've been doing things up until now, you're likely to continue doing them that way. If I tell you anything that doesn't make sense to you in the moment, I encourage you to put it in a holding tank. Hi, Jen. And somebody I know called it a waiting room, but it's the place where you put information until you've had a chance to validate it. So that's all good. I will take a few moments at the very end to let you know what I offer, what my services are, how you can get in touch with me. So I will come back and tell you all about that towards the end. So, and we will be back next week at the same time, and I will continue to publicize it on Facebook and on Instagram, and if I get to it, on LinkedIn. Hi, Janet. So, let's take a look at what we've got in the question department today. Hang on a minute. There we go. So, Jill Prescott asked, this is one of the ones that was left over from the comments last week. Hi, Amanda. So Jill asked, what is it that's processing through me at this time? So let me find, and you'll see me looking off of the window, the window's over there, and closing my eyes for a moment, and that's how the information comes through in packets. So, and you may also notice me doing this and flicking my head to the side, and that's because my body acts, hi Paula, my body acts like a pendulum, so I'm getting yes and no answers inside. So what is it that's processing through Jill at this time? My sense for you, Jill, is that we've been talking a lot about the paradigm shift and shifting from the 3-dimensional to the multidimensional world. And you are naturally of the multidimensional world, and you've had to Oh, we have a yawn here, which means there's some resistance around this. So you had to adapt to being three-dimensional when you came into a body here, and you did. Hi, Donnelly. You did a very, very good job of adapting, but you've adapted so well that now it's a little difficult to unadapt. So one of the things that's happening for you is that you're having to adjust again. So you've been adjusting all the way along. So there's when we talk about what's going on for you, what's processing through you at this time, it is the shift. The shift is processing through you. And there are some of us who elected to come in and do this shift a little bit ahead of everybody else. It doesn't make us better people or more enlightened or anything like that. It just means that that's what we came to do. And so we have all been having to adapt and adjust way before the COVID virus came in. And we didn't really, we had a model to work with because we all have guidance, and we're never asked to do anything. We never volunteered to do anything that we don't have support for. However, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It just doesn't feel like it's a choice we made, but it doesn't feel like a choice because, hi Chantel, it's too uncomfortable not to. So we end up doing it. And we don't always know why. It's not always something that we can explain until everybody else catches up with us and wants us to help them to do what we've been doing. And then in trying to explain it to them, we find the words, and then we're able to say what it is that's been going on. So that's what's going on for you at the moment, Jill. So it's coming in all kinds of different ways. And one of the reasons it's coming in different ways is because you're going to have clients coming to you who need to do it in different ways, and you need to know what those ways are that are on your menu of items, of ways, of processes that you can choose in order to be able to help them as they do this work. So that's what I think that's the most useful thing for you today. And we'll see if there's anything else that comes up for you. You can always come back and ask another question in another session. All right, Flora's question. Do you have any tips about how to communicate with my friend who is brilliant but high-strung and wants to take a leadership position in a group I'm in, but I worry that it won't work because he gets emotional? So I'm just going to find his energy, and I do it through his name. Again, another yawn. When I get yawns, it means that there's some resistance involved. Is this your resistance, Flora, or is it? It's not yours. It's his. Okay, so he's going through some resistance right now, and that's how he processes. So you said he gets emotional. And he does get emotional. He doesn't process it particularly well. And so I think he also has some empathic tendencies. And so what he does as a leader in a group is he picks up the emotions in the group, and then he expresses them. He acts them out without recognizing, oh boy, is there ever resistance to this? So he processes them without realizing that they're not his, which means as a leader, he needs to be more aware of what he's processing, because otherwise he's doing it unintentionally and sometimes expressing things in a way that isn't appropriate for the group as a whole. So, hi, Lorna. So I would say what he needs is to come and talk to me, or anybody else who provides advice to leaders about how to use their intuition in their leadership role, because I think that's part of what he's dealing with. He has a little bit, it's not all black and white. I think he also has a little bit of stuff here from his early years in his life that he needs to process. Hi, Chantel. But that's not the bulk of it. The bulk of it is that he's sensitive, and therefore picks up emotions that aren't necessarily his, and they get heightened as soon as you're in a group. Everything that's going on in the group acts like a magnifying glass. It amps it up, And so if you're the leader, you need to know how to deal with that amping up. And I think before he steps into a leadership role, he needs to at least be aware that he does that and figure out some techniques around dealing with it before he decides that he actually wants to lead in the group setting. So you may not be able to say anything to him about this, but just your awareness of it puts you into the witnessing role, and witnessing is a healing quality. So, hi, Adina. So you're very welcome, Flora. All right, next person, Thea. I don't know if it's Thea or Thea, but because I can't always tell. It doesn't come with phonetics in the bracket behind the person's name. So this is a career question. I have 2 job options. Do I focus on staying or going? Lots of people facing this right now, right? Because we're in this time of massive transition. Benefits and risks on either side, particularly given the current pandemic and future potential for fulfillment emotionally, financially, mentally, and relationally. All right. So, okay, let's see. Career, are there career? Yes, there's career options right now. Are there 2? Yeah, because I'm asking if there's 2, not because I think you're fibbing to me, but because there might be 3. Or it might look like there's 2, but there's really only 1. But they're saying, yes, there's two options. Okay, so what they're saying to me is one of them is not fully fleshed out yet. So the people who made the offer or the opportunity as it presented itself, hi Adina, it was complete as they thought they were offering it or presenting it or as it arrived, but there's more to come through on it. And it feels like, bearing in mind that times and dates are not what we think they are, you might have to put this in a holding tank. But what we're looking at is I'm getting 2, it's not 2 weeks, it's not 2 years, it feels like 2 months. In 2 months' time, so we're now at the beginning of June, beginning of August, sometime in August, we'll be looking at there being more information on the table for you about option number 2. So you don't want to make any choices about option number 2 until the rest of the information is shown up. Now, how do I know which one's option 1, which one's option 2? It feels like the order in which you were made aware of them. That's as close as I can get. So you said... So benefits and risks to either side. You already know what the benefits and risks are. They're not telling me that there are any additional ones that you're not aware of. There's not a big hidden one that's going to jump out and go wooga 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 at you. But it does look like not all the information's on the table. So you're going to have to hold off on both of those decisions. So I would say it's not going to be detrimental to you to hold off until a couple of months down the road. So, because some things are going very quickly right now and some things are going very slowly. Future potential for fulfillment emotionally, financially, mentally, relationally. My sense is, I come back to this idea of we're shifting paradigms. It's going to be much healthier. I'm going like this over my heart because on a heart level, it's going to be much healthier for all of us as we move more into the multidimensional way of interacting in the world. And it's not going to look like, they were explaining this to me the other day, it's not going to look like a chop and, you'll be able to look at it and see everything was this way on one side and everything was this way on the other side. I have the sense that once we've shifted over into the multidimensional paradigm, we're not going to look back and say, oh, do you remember what it was like when we were back there in the third dimensional world? It's all going to look seamless to us, but it's going to feel better. Those things that we've been saying that we don't like about the world, there's going to be less of that. And the things that we've been saying we want, this is the world we want, this is what we aspire to. There's going to be more of that. And that's going to make us happier. So overall, we're just going to be happier. But it's not going to be like the Berlin Wall came down and it's like, boom, everything is different. It will be different, but it's not going to look like a boom. So that's what they're telling me right now about that. And, as I get more information, I'll update you. Okay, Question number 4, Nina. What do I still need to learn about friendship at this time? I was just thinking about friendship the other day, and I was thinking that to me, friendship is an alchemical, magical, phenomenal thing. It's not family, so it's not all just completely mapped out from the minute we sit up there on our puffy white cloud and say, I want this set of genetics. It's something that we choose, and that in order to stay in friendship, we have to continue to choose it. It changes over the course of a lifetime. Some friendships are really short, and that doesn't make them not valuable. I was thinking about a girl I went to camp with when I was, I think I was 11, 12. And I still remember her, and I had not met her before that. I have never met her since. I don't even remember her name, but I remember what she felt like. So friendships are hugely, hugely important. So what they want you to know about friendship, Nina, is that it is a constant, daily, moment-to-moment choice. And our friendships in this world are meant to teach us something and to give us support and joy. And if they're not doing that, then we need to move them along or move out of them. But I think that that's not your problem. Your thing is that it's a choice. This is not something that's foisted on you. It's not an obligation. If it starts to feel like an obligation, then it's something else. It's not a friendship. So that would be really good for you to keep in mind. If I look at your friendship picture, you've got some really great friendships. You have some that are a little bit past their sell by date or use by date. They're expiring. And that's not because they're bad people. It's just that we have commitments that we make to friendships, whether it's verbalized or not. And these commitments are about, oh God, so another big yawn here. There's resistance to letting them go because you're a loyal person and it doesn't feel loyal to let them go. But think of it this way. If you were to go up that way and look at this from the person's soul perspective, you would not want to be doing something in the friendship that isn't helping to move that person along on their soul's path. So if you're moving out of friendship with them, opens up a portal, a door, an opportunity for someone else to come in to their life who would be able to provide them with more, or where there would be an opportunity for that person to seek or to rest in that place of your absence, then you would not want to deprive the person of that experience. So that's my sense about this. It's a what is the natural length of time? Hi, Kimberly. What's the natural length of time for that relationship between you and that person? And sometimes you can let go of a relationship at one point in your life and come back to it later on. And I've had a few of those. In fact, I've just had a friend who's walked back into my life after 20 some odd years. And the friendship is still there. If it's a soul level friendship, and I think friendships are, I think that's part of the alchemy of them, then you'll pick it up again where you put it down. All right, so that's Nina. Patricia says, I'm looking at a post-degree diploma program at Langara College, but I'm wondering if this is the direction to take. I'm open to change because right now I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm not even sure if I'm asking the right questions. And boy, sometimes we don't know. But asking questions is part of setting our intention. And so By asking this question, you're opening a door. And I know that you've been through a fire in your home, which is just beyond devastating. And you've had to make some massive changes in your life to cope with that, to put your life back together. This desire to take a new direction was there before the fire. And the fire was like the full stop, the period at the end of that sentence that was what had come before. So we're talking about shift time. And part of the shift for you is shifting into what you're going to do now with your life. Because what they're saying to me is you're not the same person that you were before the fire. You've got a before the fire life and an after the fire life, even though you were already starting to wrap things up in the old life before the fire hit. But now you've had to acknowledge that life is no more, which doesn't mean you don't bring anything forward from it, because it's your experiences were part of who you are, but you're not going to live that way anymore. You already had the seeds of what you're going to do next in not what you were doing before so much as who you were. And my sense is that you were expressing yourself, your essence, but not completely. And that I would say overall, on average, you were probably withholding who you really are for about, they're saying 80% of the time. And my feeling is that in the other 20%, you were like super concentrated who you really are. And then you would let it go, and you would. So I want to go like this with my body and withdraw a bit. So you would come out and be really intense, and then you would withdraw a bit, and about 80-20. And where you are right now in how you're living your life, because of the fire, you had to bring. You're about 50-50 now, and your next steps are going to move you into about 70-30. In favor of who you really are. So go ahead and have fun with this. It feels like if it isn't Langara, it might be Langara, but it might not be exactly the program that you're looking at right now. But what you want to do is explore change and explore anything's Jenga block view of life, right? If the Jenga block moves when you tap it on the end, then it's not weight bearing, and you can follow it, right? It's going to be, there will be flow, there will be ease. So follow, go with whatever it is that moves, and be open to the possibility that something else could come along as you're pursuing that, and don't be afraid to change direction if something else feels better. So I think you're asking the right question. It's about next steps, but this is really about what you bring forward with you and what you bring forward in your life. Like how much are you bringing the essential you out to play, and keep it playful. So that's bringing that out. Okay, so last question that I have written down here, and then I'll open it up. And if any of you have any questions that you want to add in, then you can throw them into the comments when I get through this one. So this is from Maddie and Adam in Cincinnati, and this is a lovely one. I got a tickle. This tickled me. So Maddie says, Adam and I aren't able to attend live today as we're traveling, but we've come to love this Saturday ritual and plan to watch later. A joint question. We were married last summer. Our first year of marriage was full of love and unexpected challenges, some very difficult. As we approach our 1-year marriage anniversary, we're asking our guides for any insight or wisdom to share regarding our relationship. That's such a lovely way to celebrate a wedding anniversary. Okay, so Maddie and Adam. So let's see what we've got in here. So there's both of you. Yep. Your relationship is very much, you're welcome, Patricia. is very much about walking along side by side. So you don't, your lives are not about being faced in on each other all the time. You face the world and you move through the world into the world together, side by side, holding hands. And I see that you have a common, it feels like you have a common purpose that is, and I do this because our purpose string is our intuition. Once a year would be a really lovely time for you to sit down and talk about what your common purpose is, because I think you're trying to change the world. But very much through who you are and how you interact with one another and the model that you create, because I feel like you're creating a model. I have the sense that you're not afraid to fight with each other and that you mostly fight clean. I don't see you, and I also have the feeling that both of you have the ability, one of you more than the other, but definitely both of you in that direction, have the ability to own it if you've done something that wasn't kind or wasn't as enlightened as you would like to be. And so I think that's good and healthy in your relationship. So this moving forward together means that you're moving towards a common goal. You only get discombobulated in your relationship if you are not heading in the same direction, or if one of you is trying to pull off in another direction. So that doesn't mean that you will never do that, but when you do it, you need to negotiate it. It needs to be conscious, and then you need to say, okay, for this amount of time, and you might need to revisit it, but as far as we can anticipate, for this amount of time, one of us is going to have a purpose that is more over in this direction, and the other one is going to keep going in this direction. But I have a sense that you're both naturally and most of the time and happily, you are both moving forward in the same direction. In other words, you need to be moving in the same direction in order to feel optimal in your relationship. So definitely once a year is great to sit down and anticipate and wish and dream and set your intention, because everything follows intention. Set your intention for the year coming so that you can negotiate it if either of you needs to diverge from that for however long. And have a plan in place for if either of you are feeling like things are getting out of alignment or a little off track, how can you bring it back into alignment again? So you both need to be aligned with your soul's purpose, because otherwise you create disruptions in the relationship. So if you're fighting, then you can be pretty much guaranteed that's what's going on. And you can resolve it by coming back to, what do we both really want? What have we both committed to? What's on the charts for us, so to speak, at the moment. So I think that one is I think that about covers it for you, both of you, Maddie and Adam. All right, so Janet has a question here. Let me read all of it. Do you have any insights about when will be the right time to leave my house? My husband and I have lived in for more than 30 years. We no longer need such a big house, but so many memories, it's hard to let go. Okay, yeah, you guys need a letting go ritual. And you need to you have to really feel together into this, because you don't both have exactly the same needs. When I look at Maddie and Adam, they have more the same kind of needs. Your needs are different. So when you choose another place to live, you have to meet both of those needs. And my sense is that the next place that you choose to live in, you're going to be in for a while. So you're going to age into this place. And so the beginning place is honoring the life you lived in the place that you're in right now, and then taking a look at the gratitude for that and what it was. So really acknowledging what it was. It's like, when you have a 50th wedding anniversary and you get up and you toast all the wonderful things. Well, I think you need to toast all the wonderful things that you've done and accomplished and worked through in this house. And then you want to sit down and bring your hopes and dreams to the table, because the house is going to be the container within which both of you realize these hopes and dreams. And so you have both of you, it's like you stand back to back and you live your lives with your back to the other person's back. So you can feel them there. But you don't do necessarily exactly the same things. So you need to be able to go out and come back and go out and come back. And when you were both fully engaged in the workforce, you went out to your work and came back. But now that you're retired, you're going out and coming back to the in and out of the house. You were before, but now you don't. You go out. It's more like project work, is what I'm trying to say. So what are your hopes? It's not just what is the project, but what are your hopes and dreams for what you will realize through these projects? Because the projects will change over the years as your physical capacities change, as your community's needs change, because you're both tied into the community. So that's that's laying the energetic foundation for being able to let go of this house, and the location of it. So you got to do the inner work, the two of you. One looking back into the past and deciding what was wonderful about it, and what would you like to reach and scoop and bring that's part of you still, that you bring forward into the future in your new home. So you're not just looking for a property or a house. You're going to create a life in a home. And so how you create that home has everything to do with what your dreams are. Your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations. And you might also even want to spend a little bit of time talking about what your fears are, not so that you can get lost in the fears, but so that you can, and this is true about any kind of moving forward, right? It doesn't matter what time of your life it is. But if we can say what the fear is, then we can rephrase it, reframe it in the positive of, what is my hope that I won't fall back into that fear? So if it's about, for instance, if it's about security, or if it's about opportunities or whatever, we want to phrase it in terms of what it is we're hoping to live into. What would our best world look like? So I encourage you to dream. So I think that's it for you, Janet, you and Joe. So you guys can go away and play with that, and you'll have the summer to play with it. We're at 2:05, so I'm going to close it off for here. I see that you have a question, Chantel. I think it looks like. But I will grab that and I'll put it at the top of the list for next week, Chantel. You're very welcome, Janet. So for those of you who might be new here today, or who want to know what's going on for me, you can find all the information about me and all the links to social media and all of that kind of thing through my website. I've been taking the recordings of these and I've been posting them on, I posted a link on Instagram. I repost this so that it goes up into our group and also onto my regular Facebook feed. And I'm also uploading it onto YouTube, and it's the YouTube link that links back to my website. So if you've missed one, or if you have to miss one week and you want to catch up, there's lots of ways to catch up on it. Please feel free to invite your friends, your family, your colleagues, your neighbors. If you're in the group, you can invite other people to join the group as well. That I say that every week. Also, for the duration of this weird transition time to do with the COVID virus, I'm offering Ping Mini readings. That's $30 for 15 minutes, and you can book those through my website, and we can do that by Zoom, where we can see one another, or FaceTime, or whatever it is that brings the video component in, or we can do it by phone, or because we can't do it in person at the moment. So that opportunity is there. You can book it through my booking page. I am also offering 60-minute readings and also intuitive coaching, which is power in your back pocket, because people have said to me for years, I wish I had you in my back pocket. So now we're putting me in your back pocket. And also Power Circles, which is learning about using your intuition in a group setting and in a professional setting. So I've done some radical changing to my rate structure because I've always wanted to charge differently. And economic imperatives got in the way and made it so that it was very risky to do that. So I'm using this opportunity right now to experiment with how I negotiate with you around. So it's now going to be you using your intuition and me using my intuition, so we can figure out what's the best amount or the best method or the best time range or whatever. It's all open. So if you want to know more about how I arrived at that, that's all the last item on my menu on my website. So you can find out more about it. So feel free to talk to me about it. If we have a conversation about it and it doesn't feel right, then I'm not going to push and I'm not going to resent you. I won't say I'm unfriending you now because we didn't come to an agreement about this. To me, it's all a big experiment for us to engage in, to see if we can move this world into a place where we're not so engaged in the little pieces of paper and the little bits of metal, but we can actually talk about how do we share with one another. So I have exploratory chats about just about everything, and they're all free on my and you can reach them through my website and book an exploratory session with me, and we can talk further. So I don't charge for that, and I'm just really concerned that we find good fit. That's the thing that's most important for me. So I'm back next Saturday at 1:30. If you have a question for me, I go back through the feed after I upload this. So if there's any in here that I missed, I'll take them and I'll move them to the top of the queue for next week. If you have a question, just get it to me by noon next Saturday. And you can send it to me all during the week. You can message me, you can email me, you can send it to me through the contact button on my website. There's lots of ways to get hold of me. So feel free to reach out. So I always say this every week, but it is such a pleasure for me to do this. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. So when you come and hang out with me, that gives me the opportunity to do it. So thank you for being here today. And until next time, stay safe and enjoy the beginning. We're in the beginnings of summer here, so that's great. It's a bit rainy today, but that's okay. We'll manage that. So thank you all for being here. Desiree says the website looks great too. Thank you, Desiree. That's really nice to hear. I'm in the process of designing a new one. So Flora is helping me to design a new one. So we'll be rolling that out in the next month or so. Hopefully next month or so. Our timelines have been swapped around all over the place. So bless you all. Thank you for coming and being here with me. I'll have the recording up in about 10, 15 minutes. And then if you came late to the party, hi, Henrietta, then you can always come back in and listen to the recording. So stay safe.